Could the Pirates potentially be serious about trading Paul Skenes? And are the Cubs a team that could pull off a deal like that? There's an insider that threw it out there, and we're going to talk about it. Another insider, one of the best in baseball, doesn't think that Pete Crow-Armstrong should sign an extension right now. So we're going to get into both of those things on the show today. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. I know I ask you guys to do that every day, and you do a great job of it. So thank you. Cardinals fans, hey, look, I know, guys. It's a lot to ask of somebody. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel. 7,000 subscribers plus. We're trying to get to 10,000. And I can't thank you guys enough for making this channel your channel and helping us get there. Maybe one day I'll tell you the story about why I started this channel, but I will say this. Thank you. And I mean that. All right, let's get into today's show. I don't do a whole lot of this stuff during the regular season where you start to get into speculation on potential trades. But this one was pretty interesting to me. A guy that I really do like and enjoy his show on XM or the work he does for The Athletic is Jim Bowden. And one of the things that he was talking about was that the Pittsburgh Pirates could potentially trade Paul Skenes, right? And a lot of you are going, well, why would they trade Paul Skenes? I mean, he's only like the best pitcher in baseball, or, maybe the best young pitcher in baseball. He's in his early 20s. He's having another fantastic season. Last year he was Rookie of the Year, and he was an all-star, and he was voted for MVP, and, and all this. It was third in Cy Young. This year he's come back, and despite the fact that he's 4-5, the guy's got a 2.15 ERA, and he's got 77 strikeouts in 75 innings. I mean, he's good. Okay. 18 walks. He's on a team that's not any good. So why would the Pirates trade him? I want to start there and then kind of see what we think about a potential Cubs landing spot. But the reason why is that the Pirates don't have a ton of resources. It's a small market. They haven't won in a long time. And they're probably, and I don't know that they're going to do this, but they're probably at least floating the idea of trading him for an enormous return, which the Cubs could give him, to an organization that could afford to pay him, through his arbitration years, which he's going to get paid a ton. And, maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe, they don't have the resources to make that happen and be comfortable with it. Right. So what Bowden was saying, as far as the package that he said the Cubs could potentially make to get Skenes, Cade Horton, obviously in the Cubs rotation now, I think an excellent young pitcher, Matt Shaw, Kevin Alcantara, and Juan Tomas. Okay, if I was the Cubs and that deal was presented, I think I'd take it. I mean, I would take it. I mean, look, and that's nothing against Horton or Shaw. They're great. They're great players. They're potentially great players. Alcantara, I think they'd like to move him. And then I don't know much about the 17-year-old Tomas, other than he's, according to what people are saying, a five-tool player. Yeah, five-star tool player. But the Cubs could potentially go in a lot of different directions on this trade. Maybe you don't give up Shaw and you give up Owen Casey. It would have to be a blockbuster trade for me to want to give up Owen Casey and Cade Horton in the same deal. But if I'm the Pirates, I'm looking at it and I'm going, Shaw's going to be a great player. Casey, who hasn't gotten to the big leagues yet, is going to be I think it's going to be potentially an excellent player. You're seeing it with Cade Horton. He hasn't even really figured it out yet, and he's still figuring it out. Is he going to be Paul Skenes? No, but he's going to be Cade Horton, and that could be pretty damn good, right? So if you're the Pirates, maybe you're looking at it and you go, we're going to get back a ton of talent, guys that can contribute. We can build around. They already have a bunch of other young pitchers that are really good. Maybe that's what makes sense. And then the money works out where you're not, paying this guy in arbitration an arm and a leg because he's going to earn it. He's maybe arguably the best pitcher in baseball. If he's not, he's one of them, right? So, and he's only going to get better. And if something happens to him and he gets hurt, you don't get anything, right? So you could get, difference makers at a lot of spots. Now, would the Cubs make this deal? I don't know. But if you were the Cubs and you had a chance to go out and get a Mark Pryor, or Kerry Wood, would you do it? Yeah. I mean, we had him before, but I'm just saying, like, this is the kind of talent that Skenes has. And you guys know it. He's also someone that the Cubs don't have. And the worry that I have about the rotation, the way that it is right now, is that if you get into a short series, who are you relying on? Shota Imanaga? And without Justin Steele, you probably, to me, the eventual number 2 guy is going to be Cade Horton. And I know he's not there yet, but I would say him. Matthew Boyd has had injury issues. Is he going to stay healthy? We saw Colin Ray in yesterday's game. He's a guy that you look at his past and that's what he is. He's not going to come in and all of a sudden just be a Cy Young Award winner. He's a guy that gives up runs sometimes, and that was the case. But he's consistent. He keeps you in the game. Skenes is the kind of guy that you win a World Series with. You match him up against anybody on the other team's rotation. But I know this is a stretch, right? And I get that. But it's interesting. And the most interesting thing to me about the whole Paul Skenes trade talk is that it's not going away. And that tells me that there's a reason why it's not going away. Is it just us talking about it? Yeah, but where does all that stuff come from? It comes from executives talking. Hey, what would this look like? Or, whatever. I mean, the Pirates could turn this into a Herschel Walker type of trade that Dallas made when they traded him to the Vikings and ended up making them a 3-time NFL Super Bowl champion team because they got so many great players back for him. That could be the case too. The Cubs still have some talent in the farm system. And I think that Jed Hoyer's in a spot right now without a contract for next year, trying to prove himself that if he could deliver a Paul Skenes, marketing wise, you're going to kill it. Can you imagine Skenes, how much money you'd make in endorsements and merch, just everything that goes along with playing besides just going out there and dominating as a pitcher, because the Cubs have an enormous fan base. And even though I look at this franchise right now and I say that probably the future face of the franchise is going to be Pete Crow-Armstrong, even as good as Kyle Tucker has been, Paul Skenes would certainly be there as well. But I don't know that this is going to happen. I don't even know if he's going to get traded anywhere. But where the Cubs kind of sit in this, if they were serious about doing it, the Pirates, is that the Cubs have the players to give the Pirates back to make this deal. Now, the worst part about it for both of these teams is they're in the same division. So I'm sure the Pirates don't want to see Paul Skenes beating up on them. And I know that the Cubs don't want to sit there and lose to Matt Shaw and Cade Horton and whoever else ends up in this deal. Owen Casey, if it was made. So, but it's fun to talk about it. And the reason why I think that it's worth talking about is that when there's smoke, sometimes there's fire. And so we'll see. I don't look for a deal to be made this year, but it just tells me that the Pirates are looking at the financial part of this down the road going, hey, you know what? We might need to make a trade like this. So it's interesting to talk about and think about as well. But at the same time, look, it's not going to change this team and the way that it's built right now. And it would be a risk for the Cubs to make a trade like this on a first place team that has great chemistry. All right. Second thing I wanted to get into was Ken Rosenthal thinks that Pete Crow-Armstrong shouldn't sign an extension. So our buddy Patrick Mooney from The Athletic has basically said that the Cubs are interested in signing Pete Crow-Armstrong. I saw where the number what was it? John Morosi, maybe. I think it was him, or maybe it was Heyman. One of those guys had the number about $140 million to basically buy a couple years of arbitration and free agency after that, keep him around for a while. Cubs did this with Anthony Rizzo, and it paid off in big time because there was a point where he was making a lot less money than he would have made. But you just never know in this game, and that's kind of the risk. The Braves have done a great job of signing their young stars early so that they get a better deal and keep those guys locked in. And that's maybe what the Cubs are thinking about doing right now. But I thought it was interesting that Ken Rosenthal would come out and basically say, that he thinks Pete Crow-Armstrong's on the verge of being a star player. His exact quote was, "If I'm PCA, I'm not signing anything right now." He said that on his Foul Territory podcast. He said, "I'm establishing myself as an elite player." He went on to say that, when he was talking about Ronald Acuna signing, a big time contract as a young player, I thought about that a lot. He's been injured a couple times, but he's come back. But he said, "My point is PCA is on the upswing. And if you're PCA, I am quite sure you believe in yourself and you don't believe this is a fluke and you believe that your price will only increase over time." And look, I get that. But if I'm the Cubs, I'm still trying to push for him to sign. And if I'm Pete Crow-Armstrong, you got to take this seriously. Because you're going to make so much money that you're never going to have to work again if something ever happens to you in baseball. Not to say that's what he wants, but $140 million is, you know what? My life's pretty much taken care of. I mean, I'd really have to screw it up not to have any money left. So if that's where the deal ended up, because if you go out there and get hurt, or you have bad seasons, or they figure you out, or whatever, you're going to miss out on an opportunity to have generational wealth and it come early. Now, could you make 350 if you go out there and have an MVP type season and you put together, a career full of great years? Yeah, you could. But the advantage is that you can take the money now and it's a sure thing, right? You're gambling if you don't. So I don't know. I got a feeling I think he probably signs. I think most players, you take the money. Maybe you shorten the deal so that you can be a free agent sooner if you really believe in yourself. But you're going to turn down $140 million, and for right now, and you look at it like this, the guy's had 2 good months. Now, I believe in him. You guys know that. I've talked about it before. I think he's a great player, and I think he's going to have a great career. But I'm just saying, like, at this point right now, we're talking about 2 good months, 2 really good months. And if the Cubs come and offer you the right money, I think you got to take it. I disagree with Ken Rosenthal, because I'll tell you what, if you go there, you run into those bricks and hit them the wrong way, and your career's over. You're going to do $140 million. Would have been great. A great fallback plan. But I think Pete Crow-Armstrong too. I think he's going to be one of these guys who is able to handle the money. You look at Juan Soto, and he just got paid, over $500 million, and he's, his stats aren't great. Now he's hitting the ball hard. It's not like he's a slouch, but he's not getting luck, and it doesn't look good on paper. When you pay somebody that kind of money, expecting results. So I just got this feeling that PCA he's so driven and loves to win, loves to have success, that I don't think the money is going to be something that slows him down. All right, look, Cubs back at it against the Reds. Guys, get in the comment section, like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you for being here. Tell me what you think. Do you think Paul Skenes is even potentially going to get traded by the Pirates? And if they did, would you want the Cubs to dig in there and try to figure out a way to get him? Anyway, thank you guys, and we will do it again tomorrow. I love it. Let's get back at it. If you guys got anything that you want me to talk about, get in the comment section and tell me. I'd love to hear. Is there a show idea that you want to get into? because we could do that. All right. Thanks, and go Cubs.